Daily Words of God.
From the moment you come crying into this world, you begin to perform your duty. You assume your role in the plan of God and in the ordination of God. You begin the journey of life. Whatever your background and whatever the journey ahead of you, none can escape the orchestration and arrangement that heaven has in store, and none are in control of their destiny. For only He who rules over all things is capable of such work. Since the day man came into existence, God has been steady in His work, managing this universe and directing the change and movement of all things. Like all things, man quietly and unknowingly receives the nourishment of the sweetness and rain and dew from God. Like all things, man unknowingly lives under the orchestration of God's hand. The heart and spirit of man are held in the hand of God, and all the life of man is beheld in the eyes of God. Regardless of whether or not you believe this, any and all things, living or dead, will shift, change, renew, and disappear according to God's thoughts. This is how God rules over all things. As the night creeps in, man remains unaware, for the heart of man cannot perceive how the darkness approaches or from whence it comes. As the night quietly slips away, man welcomes the light of day. Yet the heart of man is even less clear or aware from whence the light has come and how it has driven away the darkness of the night. Such recurrent alternations of day and night take man into one period after another, moving through the times, while also ensuring that the work of God and His plan are carried out during each period and through all times. Man walked through the ages with God, yet man knows not that God rules the fate of all things and living beings, or how God orchestrates and directs all things. This is something that has eluded man since time immemorial to the present day. As for the reason why, it is not because the ways of God are too elusive, or because the plan of God has yet to be realized, but because the heart and spirit of man are too distant from God. Therefore, even as man follows God, he unknowingly remains in the service of Satan. None actively seek out the footsteps or appearance of God, and none wish to exist in the care and keeping of God. Rather, they are willing to rely on the corrosion of Satan and the evil one in order to adapt to this world and to the rules of life the wicked mankind follows. At this point, the heart and spirit of man are sacrificed to Satan and become its sustenance. Moreover, the human heart and spirit become a place in which Satan can reside and a fitting playground for it. In this way, man unknowingly loses his understanding of the principles of being human and of the worth and purpose of human existence. The laws from God and the covenant between God and man gradually fade away in man's heart, and man no longer seeks or pays heed to God. As time passes, man no longer understands why God created man, nor does he understand the words that come from the mouth of God, or realize all that is from God. Man begins to resist the laws and decrees from God. The heart and spirit of man become deadened. God loses the man of his original creation, and man loses the root of his beginning. This is the sorrow of this mankind. In actuality, from the very beginning until now, God has staged a tragedy for mankind in which man is both the protagonist and the victim, and none can answer as to who is the director of this tragedy.
From the moment you come crying into this world, you begin to perform your duty in the plan and ordination of God. You assume your role and begin the journey of life. Whatever your background or the journey ahead of you, none can escape the orchestration and arrangement that heaven has in store. Since the day man came into existence, God has been steady in his work, managing this universe and directing the change and movement of all things. Like all things, man quietly and unknowingly receives the nourishment of the sweetness and rain and dew from God. Like all things, man unknowingly lives under the orchestration of God's hand. The heart and spirit of man